Hi, I'm Ali Jennings from Digital Camera Magazine, and today I'm going to show you how to add incredible bleach bypass effects to your pictures. So here we've got an example, basically an urban portrait that we've applied the bleach process style to, and you can really see how contrasty and the muted colours have really added to the impact of the picture. So this is after the effect has been applied, and basically just to take a look at it before. And we can really see the difference. Very standard urban portrait, and the bleach bypass has given it that sort of fashion advertising look and style. So what I'll do is I'll close those two down, and the first thing that we want to do is just to open up our raw file and make the first few adjustments to our picture. So if I go to File and Open, select our start image, click Open, and that'll open up in Adobe Camera Raw. Now I want to make sure I've got my preview button ticked, and I also want to toggle to full screen. Now the shortcut for that is just F. So once I've done that, I want to use the colour picker so that I can find a neutral area of the picture so that I can correct our colour balance. So if I go up to our colour sampler tool, and as I drag over the image, over on the right hand side, just below the histogram, you'll see the RGB values. Now what you're looking for is an area where all of those values are roughly the same amount. Now in the clouds here, you know that's going to be sort of grey. All of the values should be very, very similar, and we can see there's a slight increase on the blue there, which it shouldn't really be. So we're going to click there and pick that as, I suppose, a neutral point. And we're also going to go over to these clouds here, and I think there's a little bit of grey on this pavement, and I'm going to click there as well. And on the pavement we've got a little bit too much green, and I'll click just in here as well. So I've just set those points, and we can see the RGB values of each of those points just here on the top of the screen. Now all I need to do is click our white balance tool, and I can just click in point 2. I can see that's giving it a slight magenta hue. Click down here at point 3, and we can see that's actually quite a nice neutral colour balance. And just check up here in the sky at point 1, and we can actually see that's warming up the image just a little too much. So point 3 looks like the one that we're going to use, and neutralises the colours in the best way. And so we click there, and we've sorted out our colour balance. Now the great thing about using the colour sampler tool is as you're clicking around, it sort of just marks out those points, so you can very quickly go back and readjust the white balance according to how you want it. So with that done, we now have to take a look at the exposure and the basic settings just to really enhance our picture there. So firstly, we're going to increase the exposure, and we're just going to check on the histogram exactly what's going on. We see some clipping going on in the clouds there, so just going to pull back the recovery just to get that detail back into the image. And also we're just going to use the fill light just to reduce the amount of shadow clipping that's going on. If we do the fill light too much, we're going to introduce a little bit too much grain into the darker areas, and you can really see that that grain starting to happen in the shoe. So if I just select the zoom tool, zoom into the shoe, and you can really start to see how that grain is there on the shoe there. So I can zoom back out, just hold down Alt and left click, and you can zoom back out of the image. So I just want to reduce the fill light back down a little bit again. And the last thing I want to do is just to reduce the blacks right down, and we can suddenly see how that really fills out the histogram. And just to make sure that we're not unbalancing the histogram, I'm just going to increase the contrast up to about +20. So I just reduced the blacks right down to 0 there, increase the contrast about +20, and now I've got quite a nice raw file to open up within Photoshop. So if you just check that before and after, and you can really see how that has enhanced the picture. Okay, I'll see you in the next part where we'll open up the picture within Photoshop itself.